Everybody has a recipe, or they say, do this if you want, to go viral, or you want to increase followers and all this stuff. I don't know.
Too many people don't focus on Instagram. And
okay, let's talk about that. So if they're not focused on Instagram, what should we be focused on?
I think if you are, say, Instagram levels the playing field for everybody, whether you've been in the game 10 years, 10 months. But if you're somebody, let's say you've been 10 months, you know how to take dope pictures, you know a dope videographer, whatever, you know how to create good reels, you can be racking up numbers, followers, likes, and all this stuff. Don't mean you know anything. But if you're somebody who's been in the game 10 years, you might not know the algorithm and how to do all that stuff, but you got the information. So you ain't racking up the numbers like that.
Right.
So what's this person to do? You've been in the game 10 years. You're an expert. You have advanced degrees, certifications. You speaking on stages and stuff. You need long form content. You need to build your own platform. You need your website. For one, your website needs to be popping.
Yeah.
It needs to be the hub of everything.
Okay.
People need to be able to go to your website and access everything.
True.
YouTube. And you don't have to have a fancy YouTube, but I think you need to have at least one video per month going to YouTube, because that content can work for you for years. Yeah. One YouTube video 10 years can be bringing you leads,
Yeah, that's what you've been saying.
But that reel that you put on Instagram, you got 2 days with it. After 2 days.
So you think we're all focusing too much on it?
I think everybody's focusing too much on it.
You know what, it's interesting that you say that, because at one point in time on Instagram, I kept saying, I feel like I'm the best kept secret, right? Because, and this is what I think is the challenge, going back to your earlier question with coaching, the coaching industry. You're right. If I know how to master videography or reels or short messages, right? I can grow my Instagram exponentially, crazy fast, right? And then you think that I really am an expert, but I've only been doing this 9 months. And then I think that leads to the disappointment that people have when they go purchase those products or those things from that particular person. Because I'll hear people say, oh, I spent money on this and it was really nothing, right? And I think that's a challenge, and it's a challenge that then becomes harder for someone like me to overcome, because I've been in this for a long time. And even before I was a coach, right, most of my jobs required me coaching and developing a team, right? So as a manager in corporate, as a leader, right, that's what I did on a daily basis. So if I wasn't formally coaching with the title of coaching, I was coaching because it was my job.
Right.
And so I have 20 plus years experience developing people, but translating that. And you know what's hard for me? I'm gonna be honest. I don't talk in sound bites. Like, I know you'll go back and you'll edit this out, right? And you'll make it whatever it's supposed to be, but I can't get on a reel and give you 7 seconds of hooks and something.
You got a big concept, big ideas, right? It takes longer to
explain it.
So you got a podcast, right?
I do have a podcast,
I would have my coaching clients who have seen success, bring them on your podcast. That's a testimonial right there. It's a long form testimonial. Use that on your YouTube channel, or website. And I'll explain all your coaching concepts, all that stuff. And then you can break it down for social media, like whatever for social media. But the focus is on YouTube, the long form content. Because you can start at the top with the long form content and break that down, but you can't start from down here with these 7-second reels
and build long form. You're right, because you know what I've been doing lately?
What's that?
It's just, when I say lately, it's been like 2.5 weeks, right? So I found an app, it's an AI app that I use that breaks my long form content down into little short form contents, right? And I've been using that and trying to see if I can post that on Instagram and generate some like feedback and some engagement and things like that. But you're right, that is it. And you know what's interesting? Because you can be, like you said, an expert, and you can have brand recognition, you can have all of the things, but you just don't have the Instagram following. And I was thinking about that because I was on a call with my email coach last week, and they were saying that if you have high open rates on email, it's because you have brand recognition, right? It doesn't matter what your conversion is, you have brand recognition if people open your emails. And so I was like, oh, I have 60% open.
60% is great.
That's what I've heard. So I was like, oh, so that's another one of those moments that kind of like with my marketing of the studio that I'm like, oh, I am doing something right.
Yeah.
And I think that's another challenge as an entrepreneur, right? There's so many moving pieces that if you focus on the wrong one, you can think you're a failure, when in fact you're doing something right and you just need to focus a little bit more energy here to bring the two together.
Yeah. Instagram got people thinking they, you know, either you think you the shit, sorry, excuse my language.
It's fine.
Or you think you are failing. You know, I've accepted, you know, my engagement on Instagram has fallen greatly, but I went 2 years straight posting great content every day. Nicely done, edited content, boom, boom, boom. But the leads that it brought me were people that weren't ready to pay me my full price. So it was like, man, I'm wasting my time with these people, with this platform, with this whole thing. So I just shifted my focus. Like, you know what? Let me focus on my YouTube channel, my podcast, all this other stuff, and not put so much even thought into Instagram. Like,
you know what? It's interesting that you say that because, you know, from a business perspective, when we're thinking about like, okay, what's your content strategy, right? You think about who's your client avatar, who's your ideal client, and what platform would they be on anyway, right? I think though, I just thought about this and hearing what you're saying, oftentimes we think about like demographics, age, you know, gender, all of that stuff, but we're not thinking about not buying power, but what they're willing to spend, right? Because you're right, because when you're on Instagram, and there are a lot of people that have the $44 this or this, right? If you have a higher ticket offer, it may be more challenging, right? It may be. And I mean, I know coaches who have higher ticket offers that are doing well on Instagram, but it's not necessarily like they didn't build everything from Instagram.
right.
They just realized they needed to have a presence there too. Okay.
I don't play with it.
And that's why I got my email marketing coach, because she's like, hey, let's make social media optional, right? Which is true, because if you're in their inbox and you're the expert in their inbox,
you don't need to be on Instagram.
You don't need to be on Instagram. And if Instagram goes down, you're still the expert. Now you said something, so now I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
You said something about their website being it, and I agree with you. But what do you say to people that are like, you can build this beautiful website, but you have to be able to drive the people to the website? What do you say?
You can use Instagram and social media, all that stuff, but Google is your friend. You need blogging. You know, blogging, people don't talk about that.
That's true.
Blogging is still a thing. You know, you create even YouTube videos. That stuff, you can embed that stuff in your blog, and even YouTube videos will populate on Google when people search. YouTube videos come up. So if your YouTube video answers the question that they're searching for, there you go. And it links back to your website, there you go. But blogging, that SEO is important. I'll take that, and that's all I've been focused on, SEO. When I had my gym, I remember how am I getting these clients? How am I getting these clients? It was like August 2015, and I was like, they was like, you got a blog, so I started blogging. And it was everything that I was experiencing at that gym with my clients and all that stuff, I would just be blogging about blogging. And I was making more videos. I found myself making videos. I used to watch videos, like push-up videos of other trainers, and I'd be like, why are they making push-up videos? Why? But then I found myself making a push-up video because it spoke to the very people I was targeting, the people who couldn't do a push-up. Let's make this basic push-up video. I think that's a lot of people. A lot of people overthink their content. Like, keep it simple. What are they struggling with? Then help them with that one little thing. Answer that one question for them with your content. Even if you've seen 100,000 people doing it, they're doing it for a reason.
That's true.
They're doing it because it worked.
And it is about making it more simple, right? But I think here's the issue. I think that for me, and for a lot of the women that I speak to, the issue becomes like, I have all this knowledge, right? And sometimes you're disconnected because like you can know your client avatar, your person or whatever, but you forget what it's like to be them and to think like that, right? Because you're like, oh, everybody knows this. Because like when you first said like, why is everybody doing push-up videos? In your mind, you were like, everybody knows how to do a push-up, right?
Yeah.
But then you had to think about it. So I think it's hard for people that are like, okay, I know all this stuff, to drill down and be like, okay, this is not like everybody knows this stuff. There are people that still don't know how to do a basic push-up, right?
Yeah.
It's true. So it sounds simple, but scaling it and taking it down to bite size
Yeah.
is not as simple.
I
That's
get
why
it, and it
can't-
takes time.
That's why I can't get 7-second reels, because I can't take a big concept and
Right.
come down.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, I got more to say about that.
Yeah. But you should still have that concept somewhere,
I do.
like on your podcast, on you, so people can at least go find it. You know?
That's true.
Like, and that's a question I ask people all the time. I stopped doing social media content for people. I was like, so next month, what you gonna do? You're gonna need more. It's a hamster wheel, social media. You got to keep doing it. The more you do it, the more you have to keep doing it.
That's true.
So I was like, and one of my questions is, once we post, I need a promo video for social media. Okay, but then what? When they click, where they gonna go? You got a website? Do you know how many people are going to your website? What kind of it's a lot.